Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the program. Glad you're along for the ride. It's Pod Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to carry us. Tuesday, you know what that means. We got good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show here in just a second. Some news and notes. We have Florida baseball tonight, weather permitting. The semis are rolling into town. Should be a packed house. Should be a good one. So let's go ahead and head on over to the Titan MR hotline. And we're joined by Buddy Martin. You can listen to Buddy every Monday through Thursday night, about 9 p.m. Eastern time. The late night talk sports host, Buddy Martin. Good morning, Buddy. How are you?
Just call me David Letterman, okay? The Late
That's
Show.
right.
How are you, Shane? Good to talk to you again. Enjoyed having you on last night. It's a crazy ride. And I'm telling you, as a rock and roll weekend, all the stuff going on. We discussed it on the show last night. But in addition to trying to watch a lot of golf, it was wall-to-wall golf with intermittent showers, shall we say. As you say, you loved it because the players are struggling out there at Players Championship. And then, of course, the news that broke caught everybody by surprise. I think caught me by surprise for sure. We had the story of Mike White stepping down and going to the hated rival, which is really one of the first times that's ever happened in Florida football that I can remember. And then, of course, Tom Brady's coming back. Well, I mean, my gosh, what else is going to happen? Are they going to actually say that it was April Fool's Day, and there's no baseball after all? I mean, just crazy, wasn't it?
It really was. It was a great weekend of sports and things happening. You know, you just brought up something that, you said Mike White going to the hated rival. For some reason, buddy, I don't look at Georgia as a hated rival in basketball. I know we're supposed to hate them in all sports, but I look at like Kentucky as the hated rival in basketball. But yeah, we're not supposed to like Georgia in anything. So it was an interesting choice. I said on your show last night, and I said, I guess the last couple of weeks on my show, I really thought Mike White would go to Ole Miss with his former teammate being the athletic director, his wife playing volleyball there. Oxford's a great place for your family, going back home for him. And then Georgia came out of nowhere. I was told by someone that they had heard, I guess, when we played at Georgia, I can't remember when we played there in basketball, that someone had mentioned, like an administrator there had mentioned to this person that that's who they want as their basketball coach. And it's probably because he runs a clean program. He does it the right way. And he probably can turn them into somewhat of a winner. So what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think you're right. I think he will turn into a winner. I've gotten to a little bit of a tete-a-tete with some of the Gator fans, and I'm going to be clear. I'm not blaming the fans for it happening. I'm just saying when you put it all together, all the reasons that he left, and many Gator fans are saying good riddance. I get it. Whatever his success was, what they wanted it to be. The fact is that it's a win for Georgia, really, is what it is. Because if you look at the number of heads that rolled in the SEC, what were there, 5 other coaches that get fired or whatever? You look at the availability of talent. And I don't know. It doesn't mean it's not there. I don't know where they're going to find another Billy Donovan, quote unquote, or find even a Mike White at this point in time. So, but I will say this. I understand it didn't seem to fit. No matter what Mike White did, it didn't seem to be in the cards. Sometimes it's just fate. I mean, it's fate when you show up as a 6th-string quarterback in the spring and become one of the great players ever at Florida, like somebody I know, and win championships. It's fate. It was fate the other way. This seemed to be fate written in the stars, that no matter what he did and how much integrity he had and tried to do it the right way, it wasn't meant for Mike White to succeed. Succeed being the key word here at the University of Florida in basketball. So I don't know. I think, as someone said last night, the mantra, and I think Jeremy Foley started this, is that win championships with integrity. Mm-hmm. And Shane, I said this to you last night. You came in at the end of a dark period in Florida football. I mean, you people don't know what it was like. There was a mole in the an NCAA mole in the athletic department who was really rolling over on people. So, and it was a dark time. And Jeremy Foley, when he took over, he made at one point, "We're not going to cheat around here." Okay. And so that's been the mantra. And I'll say this, that Mike White was not a cheater, a man of integrity, good coach. Maybe he didn't get it done like he should have.
He's the second all-time winningest coach in basketball history, I believe. Jeff says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. But he's right. Pouty, irrational fans made his life miserable. I think that's phrased pretty well there, because that I think his family was miserable here. I really do. I had people tell me that I think his oldest, he's got 5 kids. His oldest is like a 9th grader. I think she's an athlete. I don't know if she plays basketball or volleyball, but she got to the point where she wouldn't go to she refused to go to the games because of people harassing her and stuff. So, it is what it is. John says here's a name out of left field. What do y'all think about Brad Stevens? He was the coach at Butler and the Celtics and now does basketball operations for the Celtics. I think he's a heck of a coach. I don't know why he wanted to come play coach at Florida. When you're the basketball operations for one of the greatest franchises in the NBA, why would you leave the Celtics? Would you do that, buddy?
Well, it depends on if you love college sports or not. And I think Brad Stevens was a really good college coach. But I think he's over the hill now. I don't mean over the hill. I mean, he is now a pro. I don't think he'd want to get back to all that recruiting, as you say. No. He's got a great job. He probably likes the lifestyle where he's living, his family. And I don't know. It's a good name. I hadn't thought about it. It's a good name, but there are going to be many names coming through here. And this is really kind of Mike White on the clock. I'm sorry, Scott Strickland on the clock. Because when you look at it, his last choice as football coach didn't work out, right? And so now he's got a new one, and they start today. We'll start finding out more about Billy Napier. Now this is his hard basketball. So he's got to get this one right.
Yes, no question. And it's going to be difficult. I don't think it's going to be a quick fix. As you just mentioned, not only are there probably other openings around the country that we don't follow because there's so many basketball programs, but in the SEC alone, Missouri is open. South Carolina is open.
LSU
is open. Is Mississippi State open?
As far as I know, not.
I keep hearing that it is.
But I haven't seen that anywhere. So, but I know people talk about Alabama being out, but I have no evidence of that yet. And all we know at this point in time is that, obviously we talked about Will Wade being fired, Quanzo Martin being fired, Mike White leaving for Georgia, and now Frank Martin. So, I
think Frank Martin's a heck of a basketball coach too.
Got a bad attitude.
Well, that's true, but I don't know how South Carolina can do better than him. Quite honestly,
probably can't be. But
to the Final Four.
Look, I mean, there's an art to hiring the right guy, and a lot of luck, by the way. And if you ever made hires, and I've made a lot of them in my lifetime in my business, it's a crapshoot often. And the ones you think are going to be slam dunks don't always work out. And sometimes you get really lucky. You hire some young kid who becomes a superstar. Not necessarily what you're doing, but just because it's in the cards. And I mean, it's not easy. Look at Jeremy Foley. For all the great things he did at Florida, he hired one guy, really. Honestly, I mean, that made it Billy Donovan. And Billy was a 29-year-old coach at Marshall. Looked like he was a student. And I thought, what are they doing, hiring kids now when he was hired? So there was a certain amount of luck and fate there. So here's what I'm thinking about, Shane. See what you think. It's beginning of March Madness. Some people are going to, some new names are going to pop up. There are going to be one or two coaches that really get hot, and they're going to be hot tickets. and they'll be able to see a little bit about what's going on out there with how these teams do, and then maybe somebody will emerge.
Yeah, we shall see. We've got a couple of Facebook Lives here brought to you by Melton Law. John says another big time opening is Louisville. That's a huge opening. Mm-hmm. You talking about basketball tradition? Yeah. That is probably right now, I would say, with the openings in the SEC, Louisville's the number one job. Howard says, "Hey, buddy," and I'm going to answer this too. Any chance, any chance on the Gonzaga coach? I'll answer first. Hell, no way. Mark Few is not leaving Gonzaga. He has built that program. He has it made at Gonzaga. It's a basketball school. He can get recruits whatever he wants. He gets all the international kids to come play there. What's your answer to that?
Well, my answer is with you, but I'm saying maybe you got to try.
I'm sure
you got to have a wish list. You start up here with your wish list, and I think Mark Few would be on that list of someone you'd like to have. Now, I'm sure it's not the first time people will come after Mark Few, and it won't be the last. But hey, you never know. And about Louisville, real quick, I thought maybe Mike White might go there. That's where I thought he might go.
That would have been a great, because he could clean that place up, because that is a disaster.
Yeah.
But I go back to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, there's zero chance Mark Few comes here. I mean, buddy, why would you leave Gonzaga? You played for the national title last year as the number one seed. You have the number one overall seed team coming in this year. I mean, he's got that place rolling. I just don't see it. He's a guy.
What's the buyout for him? Do you have any idea?
Oh, I don't know. But Gonzaga's a little private school. I'm sure they got plenty of money to keep him.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
They don't have to worry about the other sports. And plus, he's a guy that loves the outdoors. He loves to go trout fishing and all that kind of stuff. And he's got it on cruise control. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't have to battle. You have two teams in your league. Both of them made the tournament, by the way, San Francisco and St. Mary's. Mm-hmm. Those are only two teams you have to deal with. You don't. I hear
St. Mary's. I hear St. Mary's is very good. I don't know that, but
they're very good. San Francisco is a very good team too.
Yeah.
As Lauren says here, Mark Few is a Gonzaga for life. Yeah. I agree.
I mean, you're right about one thing. Sometimes you need to leave well enough alone. If you ask Steve Spurrier deep down, and I have, and he's responded about, in retrospect, should he have left Florida for the Washington Redskins? Now the Washington Commanders? I'll never get that right. The answer is no. And he's admitted he should never have left because he had it on quote unquote cruise control too. Yes, although there were a lot of fans on his butt too. I want to say that,
which was ridiculous when you're averaging over 9 wins a season.
Yeah, exactly.
Ruse Ogra, State Farm Office is a team dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. They offer auto, home, life, and health insurance. Check them out. OgraInsurance.com or call them 352-240-1779. Speaking with the great buddy Martin here on the Titan MRO hotline. All right, so John says here, what about the Illinois coach that Franz mentioned last night, Brad Underwood?
Yeah. I mean, I take Franz's word for it. He knows basketball. He likes him a lot.
Brad Underwood's a heck of a coach. Yeah. I don't see him leaving Illinois, though.
Why not?
I mean, maybe. Does Franz think we have a chance at Brad Underwood?
He didn't say he put it on his hot list. He'd like to say he's not sure. But, I mean, hey, I don't know. I mean, Illinois is not in the Final Four every year. So, I mean, it's not like it's Gonzaga. So, you got to look, there's two ways to go here. You can go for an established coach who's a hot guy and has a hot hand and then comes in here after a couple of wins and maybe get into the Sweet 16, and a guy on the come, which, by the way, I think you got to bet on the come here because you're not going to go hire you're not going to have John Wooten, by the way. He's not available. So I know as much as Gator fans think he'd come right here, right now. It's a tough job putting together a list of people. And last night we talked about this some. If you go back and look at the history of hiring, and I'm going to take football here because it's a little easier to identify with it because we know Billy Donovan set the standard. Look, do you realize that Florida, when Spurrier was playing, they had a guy who was actually right before Spurrier, who was the backfield coach of the Gator football team, coaching the basketball team. Do you realize that? John Maurer.
Say that one more time.
The backfield coach of the football team, John Maurer, was the basketball coach at Florida in the 50s and early 60s. John Maurer. They didn't have a basketball coach, okay? And so you have to stop sometimes and think about where you came from. Now, I know it's the old thing we say about people who are entitled. They wake up they're born on third base and think they hit a triple. They're entitled to this. But I also get the fans. I understand how they want to win, and that's a good thing. You want your fans to want to win. You just need to channel that, maybe have a little bit better bedside manner. I mean, it's bad enough for the mean streets of the internet. I mean, social media is incredibly difficult, and when you're not used to it. But let me just say this about hiring. Getting it right on the pick and the hiring. I'm going to give you 3 names of people who were hired as coaches at Florida, and you tell me if they should have made it or what. Will Muschamp.
What am I answering?
The answer is, if I'm saying to you, roll back when they were hired.
I thought he was going to be. I loved the hire.
Yeah,
loved it.
Most people did. I did not. But it wasn't I was wise. I just started to put a little too much emphasis on defense, not offense, whatever. But anyway, all right. So there's one that should have worked, okay? Obviously. All right. Dan Mullen.
I didn't love the hire. I didn't hate it. I was kind of like wait and see.
But in 2 years,
middle of the road.
Yeah. I liked the hire, and here's why: because he brought some DNA from previous championships here.
Right.
He was an urban guy. They won 2 nationals. He was a smart offensive guy, which is what everybody wanted. Let's move the football. Let's get somebody to move the chains. And he moved the chains. He just didn't do a very good job on the infrastructure. But at the time, it should have worked, right? And then, of course, Jim McElwain. Turns out
I didn't like that hire at all.
And I didn't either, but you know what? Turns out he was better than he got credit for, because look at the players that Dan Mullen lived off of, Jim McElwain's recruits. So you never know. You think it sounds good. They're going to hire somebody here in a couple of weeks, and he'll come in, and we'll see. That's why I keep saying I don't like Billy Napier. I love Billy Napier, but I have nothing to show. I can't prove he's going to be successful. I think he will, but it's still a crapshoot. So this basketball hire is huge for Scott Strickland. He's got to get it right, and I pity him, because a lot of it's out of his control. So it's going to be interesting next couple of weeks to see who becomes the Gator basketball coach. Again, 55 years ago, the head basketball coach was John Maurer, who was the backfield coach of the Florida Gators. Okay,
I love that. And back to Mike White. I'm a basketball junkie, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the hire of Mike White, because I watched his game. I mean, not a lot of his games, but during tournament time, and every now and then you flip through the channel, you would see a Louisiana Tech. And I remember watching him play at Ole Miss, so I'd watch them. They were relentless, full court press, up and down the floor, running and gunning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what changed when it got here.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything that he did to get the job. That's what's crazy to me.
Well, that's a good point. And I know you loved it. We talked about it, how much you loved it. What went wrong? What happened? I mean, we can go. France had a great column. Tons of people read it on Gator. It's still up there, about the number of coaches who, survived. Coaches almost got fired. And what happened to Mike White. You could throw a lot of things in there, not the least of was fortune, which was fate and things that happened that were out of his control, like his best players being hurt. Can't blame it all on that. But I don't know exactly what happened. You're right. He didn't do a lot of the things he did at Louisiana Tech. But so, like you say, you wound up, the second best coach so far. It was unfortunate. And I'm going to tell you before we get through today about a hire I made one time. I thought I had a home run, and I didn't even have a bunch. So you can get it wrong. You can get it wrong when you know you got everything in front of you. I mean, if you're looking for a basketball coach, Shane, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm an offensive guy, and I have Mark Wise on my show every now and then, and I think he does a tremendous job.
Yeah.
All these coaches that talk about playing great defense and stuff, I get it. But if you cannot score and shoot the basketball, you ain't going to win a lot of games. I need dudes that can fill it up, and that's why I love Mike White when he was hired. I watched them play. Their style of play was unbelievable. It's what I love. That's what concerns me about. And I don't know these mid-major guys, like the Murray State coach. They get up and down the floor now, but when they start playing, if he were to take a big-time job, whether it's Louisville, Florida, LSU, or whatever, will his philosophy change for whatever reason? So I don't know. I'm just, I've had a bunch of people here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, talk about why can't Florida make a splash hire in basketball?
All right, who?
I think it's hard to make splash hires in basketball because you're not going to take away the Scott Drews, the Jay Wrights of the world. Those dudes ain't leaving. I mean, I know people keep talking about Scott Drew. I don't know what I'll do. I'm not going to say anything really silly here, but there is no way Scott Drew leaves Baylor University to come to Florida. Baylor has way more money than we do. Even if we threw the kitchen sink at him, Baylor can match it. So I don't know who the splash hire would be. I mean, how
are we going to measure it if we can't come up with a name?
Right, because in basketball, I think it's just different than in football. Because football coaches, there's that group of big names, but I think in basketball, for whatever reason, and I don't know if we have the money to throw at a. Gosh, I don't.
Got $8 million now. $8 million. Weren't going to. Yeah.
Right, but think about Bill Self. Okay, Bill Self is never leaving Kansas. Why would he?
Yeah. You don't want Bill Self. He's a great coach in his day, but his day is past. I mean,
they're pretty damn good, buddy.
No, well, because they have a program already built. Remember that.
Well, it was built back in the day.
I get it. And I hear what you're saying, and that's a good name, and people will be happy. But let's make the list. You want a guy who brings in shooters. I do too. That's what killed them in the end. They couldn't throw it in the ocean on a 3-point game, and it cost them. They played great defense. They hustled. They played hard. They could run when they wanted to run. They got the maximum out of most of their players of effort. But let's make the list. What are we looking for? Well, a guy with integrity, a guy who likes to run and fill it up, right? Great recruiter, right? What else is on that list?
Well, the great recruiting is I think I don't really care too much about that in basketball. Because really? I feel like most of the basketball, the world is made up of transfer portals now. You'd love to get a couple 5-stars right out of high school, but if you look at all these rosters that'll be playing this week, there's kids that have moved around. They're old. Teams are much older than they used to be. Yeah. Real quick, Tony says here on Facebook Live, he fully agrees about the Mike White comment I made. What happened to his coaching style? I don't know. That is something that would be a great research project and paper for Franz Beard to look into.
Okay, Franz, you got an assignment from.
That's right, homework assignment.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, buddy. Before we let you go, we've had some people here talk about obviously spring football starts today. You'll be out there. I'm going to try to swing by if possible. But it says if I can find.
While you're doing that, let me just tell you my one slam dunk hire failed. Okay. Real quick. All right. This was when I was at the St. Petersburg Times. We had a great staff of people who won national awards, whatever, not me, but the team did. And there was this guy who was the ultimate character in sports writing. Beano Cook was his name. He wasn't a sports writer. He was a really famous, well-known PR guy for ABC. He was a college football maven. He knew football, knew coaches. He had context. He was funny. He loved everything about sports, and he made a splash when we hired him at the St. Pete Times. Only problem was he didn't know how to write. But me, thinking I was the great guru who was training many a young writer to do well, I can take care of that. I can make it happen. All right. Bring Bino aboard. He was delightful to be with, fun. He worked hard, got a couple of scoops, but his writing did not hold up. And at the end of a year, my boss is coming down on me about, well, this guy's got to learn to write. And I'm working with him. I'm trying. And finally, my boss said, we're going to have to get rid of him because he just can't get it done. Luckily for us, RIP to Bino, one of the great characters of all time, Bino decided to step down. And he resigned and went up to come.
Did he feel the pressure from you, buddy, that he needed to
No,
step down?
I didn't pressure him. I just tried to work with him the best I could. And obviously I was a failed teacher. He became the PR guy for the Miami Dolphins. He had many other jobs. Great guy, where he had his show with ESPN. He's just a great character, one of the great characters of sports. But I thought he was a slam dunk. He was funny. He knew people. He had met all the parameters, but he couldn't put the words down on the computer screen that needed to be. Just like Mike White couldn't get enough W's.
We got a text here on the Titan Mart text line from an anonymous person it looks like up in Jacksonville. It says, "Oh my, what will Gator fans say when Mike White brings the Bulldogs to Gainesville and beats the Gators?" We shall see.
Yeah.
All right. Couple Facebook Lives. Tony says Pitino is a splash hire of 2022. Like I said, Buddy has a better chance of coaching the Gators than Rick Pitino does.
Yeah. I might be all right, by the way. I might be pretty good.
Right. Nat says they need to find a good coach soon or we will lose 2 top recruits. I got a feeling those top recruits ain't coming here no matter who the coach is.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. You can't hurry that too fast. You got to take a little time here and breathe.
Yeah.
And you got
most of those kids come because of the coach. They don't come for the school. All right, real quick, because football.
Spring football.
Yeah. So Andy asked, Buddy, since spring practice kicks off today, do you think the Gators will be ranked in the top 20 at any point this season? And what final ranking would you be happy with?
Well, that's a big one. It's a good question and just pure guesswork. My answer is yes. But I think it would be a lower 25 if it is. I think it would depend on mid-season when they get in the road. If they get a big win somewhere, I'm not predicting it's going to be Georgia, but we'll see. I think really in the end, they got a shot. I think they're looking at about right now. I'd handicap it to be 7.5 wins. That's what I see. By the end of the spring, could be 8, maybe whatever. 8 would be a great year, I think, for Billy Napier because he's building infrastructure. So I think they will be. I don't think they necessarily will be to start the season because no one knows. I think they will get in the top 25 at some point midway in the season, and that's when people start noticing what Billy Napier is doing, and he's going to, at the end of the year, I think, make a little noise. That's my guess.
Yeah, the key is, and I say this every year, you got to win at Florida. You have to win a minimum of 8 games each year. And Lauren just typed that. We need to go 8-4 or worse. I agree 100% with that. There is no reason, and I salute the hell out of Mark Stoops and the Kentucky Wildcats for the job he's done. But there is no reason we should ever lose to them. And we honestly probably should have lost like 4 straight to them. We should never lose to South Carolina. Those are the games you have to win no matter where you're Yeah, you have to beat those teams.
Mississippi State, etc.
Yeah, so if Billy can go 8-4 or better, it will be a phenomenal year. Like I told you, his roster is not going to be any close to what it's going to be until year 3. So we'll see. John asks, other than the QB battle, what position will be the best battle? I don't even know how the QB is going to be a battle because, buddy, have you heard Anthony Richardson's not participating in spring?
I have not heard that.
Either I misread it or one of the listeners, because he's still rehabbing his knee injury, which
I heard it. I brought up the question, but I don't know the answer.
It was just a scope. Those scopes don't take that dang long.
Really?
So I don't know. Maybe somebody else. Maybe I misread that. Lauren says he's looking forward to the running back competition, but it's going to be interesting to just see.
Obviously, quarterback is going to be it naturally.
Well, quarterback's it, but you got 6 scholarship quarterback. I don't know how you get them work. I would, after week 1, I would narrow it down to 2 to 3 guys, and it may hurt some people's feelings, but there's no way you can get reps to figure out if 6 quarterbacks can play or not.
Wait. What was the philosophy back when you played? You never would have got a shot.
It was, buddy. The first 2 weeks of spring, I did nothing.
Yeah.
And a couple of dudes got hurt.
Yeah.
And then John Reeves said, stick this guy in and see what he can do. And
there you go. There you go.
That's what I'm saying. But those times were different. And again, I just don't. I don't know. I'm anxious to see if Anthony Richardson is either going to be involved.
I am too. What about Jack Miller? I don't even know. I mean,
well, I'm anxious to see Jack Miller.
I know you like that style of quarterback. I know that you like to drop back.
Jeff says he heard the same thing about Richardson being out for the spring. We're
gonna find out today. We'll find out today. We'll have it on the show tonight, and we'll let you know. Can I just mention I got Derek Wingo on Thursday. I like him. He's the second time he's been on with us, the Gator Collective. He's a young kid. He's going to be a player. In terms of position, I don't know. You running back is going to be interesting as to what happens, but we don't know what's out there right now. I think, other than quarterback, what competition is there? Obviously, defensively, there's some interesting things. And
defense, we got openings all on defense, in my opinion. I don't think we've had SEC caliber players over there.
Well, secondary looks pretty good to me right now. And
I've never had a problem with our secondary other than our safety play. But linebacker and core has been bad. It's not SEC caliber. D-line's the same way. A long ways to go.
D-line would be the biggest shortcoming right now. I think that's going to be the big question. So, I'm looking forward to find out some answers to those questions, and maybe we can begin to get them on our shows. And I'll see you. I'll see you back here next Monday, and we'll do this again.
Who do you got on your show tonight, buddy?
Right now it's just me and David Moulton, possibly one other, and then we're going to have a sound bite or two from Billy Napier at practice. We'll talk about that, and a young intern coming up that I'm really excited about. You're going to hear about him tonight for the first time. He makes his debut right here on the program, so stay tuned for the program. 9:00 tonight. We'll have the whole scoopage on spring football.
All right, buddy. Have a good day. We'll talk to you next week, my man.
All right, Shane. Thank you.
That's Buddy Martin. Join us on the Titan Mar Hotline. Going to take a quick time out. Got a lot of stuff to get to. Talk about softball, spring football.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Are you tired of being sidelined by nagging pain? Hi, I'm Emmett Smith, Hall of Famer and Dance with the Stars champion. Happy to tell you about QC Kinetics and their biologic therapies for treating pain without drugs or surgery.
Are you suffering from chronic pain in your hips, knees, shoulder, or lower back? Are you tired of living with arthritis pain? QC Kinetics offers natural pain treatment that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints.
Listen, I know pain, and I've seen firsthand how powerful biologic therapies can be. Patients at QC Kinetics rave about their result because they're getting their lives back. They're getting moving again.
These exciting regenerative treatments used to be available only to pro athletes like Emmett. Now they're available to anyone thanks to QC Kinetics. Call today for your free consultation.
Get long-lasting results from my friends at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. In North Central Florida, call 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, Real Cinemas, Le Macaron, Bass Pro Shops, International Diamond Center, Prime and Pearl, and the HBC's Restaurant Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, now serving brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. See you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. I want to thank Buddy Martin for joining us on the Titan Mar Hotline. Got a lot of stuff to get to. Yeah, Gator softball wins 3-0, takes a series against Mississippi State. Kendra Falvey had inside to Parker last night. I have watched a lot of softball in the last ever how long Tim Walton's been here, 17, 18 years? She is the fastest softball player I've ever seen. I can't tell you how she gets down the line to first base. She can flat out fly. And I bet she doesn't weigh $150. She had a great catch last night in center field. And then our Skylar Wallace, the transfer from Alabama, hit a 2-run homer. So, yeah, Jeff, I agree. She has to be the fastest base runner in college softball. No question about it. Lauren says, got to get better up front on both sides of the ball. Absolutely. No question about it. We put up our link here for the basketball bracket challenge. We'll give away some prizes. I don't know what's all in the prize pack. I'll let our staff figure that out. But it's right here on the little text feed. If you go to, I think it's ESPN. Yeah, it's an ESPN fantasy deal. If you type in Pot Up with Matthews, it should pop up and fill out your brackets. Let's see who does the best and wins the prize. Dan asked Andy, were you there on TV? It looked like maybe a double play and they switch over to home plate. What? She is unreal and a freshman. I'm not sure what he's talking about there. There was another one I had here on spring ball that I'm trying to find. Andy says she's the best freshman to ever play at Florida. Could be. I'd have to really think about some other people, but Dan says, yeah, he's never seen anyone like her either. I've never seen anybody run like she does. We got a text on the Titan Mar text line from Jim. Jim says, of course, this is the big question by everybody. Shane, are you anxious to see the quarterback battle during the spring ball? I am. I don't know what it's going to entail. I don't know how it's going to work. I want to see Jack Miller. That's what I want to see. I want to see if Jack Miller, is he an accurate passer? Does he know where to go with the football? Because I've heard Coach Napier talk several times now, and he always talks about his quarterback has to be the smartest guy on the field, has to know what all other 10 guys on offense do on every play. He wants to know what the defense does on every play. And I just think he wants a guy in control of the whole operation, like another coach on the field. Can Jack Miller be that guy? We shall see. Can Anthony Richardson be the guy? I'm not sure, because they limit the plays for Anthony, but he's got great athletic ability. So I don't know. I may see what Emory does. I think Emory will end up transferring. That's just my opinion. And then, so I'm anxious to see what he does with six. Well, he's got 5 scholarship quarterbacks here right now. The 6th one will be coming in the fall. But yeah, I think everybody wants to see the quarterback position. I don't think you're going to name a starter coming out of spring unless something dramatically happens. I'm just anxious to see how they run their practices. That's what I really want to see. Let's see here. John says Kelsey Stewart and Amanda Lorenz were also pretty good as freshmen. Yes, they were. They outstanding players. One's on the Olympic team, and Amanda Lorenz is one of the greatest softball players of all time. John asks, what do you think about the running back battle going into spring with the most experienced guy coming from ULL? Don't forget, the starting running back for the San Francisco 49ers this year was a running back from Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette. So I'm not concerned with that at all. Billy Napier's coached at the big boy schools. If he thinks those guys can play at this level, which he does, that's why he brought a couple other ones, the linemen, a couple other positions. I would probably say he will be your starting running back if we had to play a game today. Doesn't mean he'd be the starting running back week 1 against Utah, but if we had to play a game today, he knows the system. He knows how they're going to operate, and but he's supposed to be a really good player. So we shall see. I'm anxious to see, as we mentioned about our linebackers. I know we got a lot of problems at the linebacker position. I think Mike Peterson will do a tremendous job coaching them up. I know he thinks we need better players there as well. So we shall see. Got another text here on the Titan MR text line. Comes from William. William says, Shane, what is the link to the bracket challenge? Okay, well, I guess you're not on Facebook Live. Evan, how will we get it to people on the text line? Where do they go to find the link? Okay. Can people hear you talking, or do I need to reply to? Okay. All right. So Evan, our producer, says that he will put it on places that you can find it. So appreciate the text there. Lauren says Utah's running back is from Dayton, Ohio. Speaking, what's that? They can go to the website. The website's potupwithshane.com, right? potupwithshane.com. All right, Tony, you can go to the website. It's potupwithshane.com, and the bracket challenge will be on there. But if you scroll, for you people on Facebook Live, it is on this link here on where all the Facebook messages are. It was somewhere on here. If you scroll through it, you can find it. But it's or if you just go to the ESPN Fantasy Bracket Challenge and you type in the search area, Pot Up with Matthews in the morning, it should pop up. Dan says they couldn't hear Evan. I thought they could. That was my fault, folks. So anyway, there you have it. Please fill out your brackets. We'll see who all is the smartest. And then we just had another one of our loyal listeners or workers say, if you search Pot Up with Shane on ESPN, the bracket will show up. So search Pot Up with Shane on the ESPN Bracket Challenge and it will show up. All right, so cool. We appreciate them setting that up. Should be fun. I'll let you guys know by Friday what's in the prize pack. Maybe we can get some good gift certificates and good gear or what have you. Okay, they pinned the link to this video. All right. Anyway, I wanted to get back to spring ball. It starts today, but I want to know Dayton, Ohio. The tournament starts tonight. All the play-in games are some good ones. You got 2 games tonight in Dayton, 2 tomorrow, and then those don't really matter for the bracket challenge. You have to fill those out. But the real tournament, you got to have it in by probably noon. They have a time cutoff date or time noon on Thursday. Andy asked, Shane, what are you doing Thursday at noon? Any interest in joining the Matthews Pot Up group for a South Dakota jackrabbit viewing party? You pick the place. We'll provide a lavish lunch. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town, Andy, but I will make sure to tune in to my Jackrabbits. They are going to beat the Providence Friars. Book it. I think everybody's on the Jackrabbits, though. I think that's probably the number one choice. I don't know if they listened to my show a couple of weeks ago, but Providence is a good team, but they've won so many close games. Lauren says Texas Southern is in Dayton for the first four. They were there last year too, I believe. That's the same Texas Southern team that we lost to. Daniel says, how about golf with JC and Shane as a prize? That might work. John asks, is this the $1 million bracket challenge? I think it's part of it. So whoever wins gets $1 million. No, just kidding. At Chris Storing Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Storing Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Got a text on the Titan MR text line. It is from Jerry. Jerry says, Shane, what are your thoughts on the Jaguars? I tell you what, They just signed 3 players, just made them a better football team already. They signed the big offensive lineman, Sheriff, I believe his name is. They signed Christian Kirk, a little wide receiver that can go. And they signed Evan Ingram, the tight end, a former Ole Miss Rebel. Those three players right there just made the Jaguars 100 times better. Doug Peterson knows what he's doing. And it's crazy because I can't think of one player the Jaguars signed last year in free agency that helped their team or had a chance of helping their team. So I think the Jags are moving in the right direction. I don't know what y'all's thoughts are for you Jaguar fans listening, but I think it's he says they also signed Zay Jones from the Raiders. I think they're moving in the right direction. Doug Peterson and his staff know what they're doing. He's been in that league a long time and as a player and a coach, and I think he can get it done for the Jaguars. All right, let's take our final time out, come back. We'll get this day in sports and a few more texts and Facebook Lives. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Hi, Steve Spurrier here. You know, making a reservation at my restaurant is easier than a Saturday afternoon homecoming game against Vandy. You don't have to call or email. Just go to spurriers.com, hit the reservation button, pick a date, number of guests, and a time. It's so simple, I can do it. In fact, I just did. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. At South State Bank, we understand that small businesses need a community business partner they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking for member FDIC. John says, I like to see the upsets in round 1, but in the second round, let's get the small schools out so we can have the top matchups. That's usually what happens. Dan also says the Jags are having a better offseason than the Cowboys so far. It's going to get really interesting here in the next couple of weeks. I wanted to get to tonight. We got 2 games in the first 4. You also have NIT games tonight. Tomorrow, the Gators play the Iona Gales with Rick Pitino wearing one of his fancy suits in the O'Connell Center. That happens tomorrow night. Don't forget tonight. I don't know if it's on TV. I hope it's on TV. Florida State baseball here in Gainesville. Daniel says, Shane, did you see the move the Braves made? Looks as if Freddie Freeman might be gone. I did. I briefly saw it. I didn't think Freddie Freeman would be back. But it's, I totally forgot. The damn Braves are your defending world champions. And so we'll see. Baseball kicks off in a couple of weeks, I believe. Greg says, I always felt Peterson got a raw deal after winning the Super Bowl with the Eagles. I know their record suffered after the Super Bowl, but maybe Wentz caused some of that. I agree 100%, Greg. I am not I have nothing against Carson Wentz. I just don't think he's a very good player. I think Doug Peterson is an excellent football coach. And I think it's going to take a little time, but you will see a much better team than you saw last year with the Jaguars. FSU game is streaming on the SEC, whatever all that is. Dadgummit. Andy asks one more question here, brought to you by Melvin Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Let's see here. Testing your memory from your Bears days. Do you remember being on the sidelines for that Monday night Halloween 1994 game against the Packers? Worst weather I've ever sat through and awful looking throwback jerseys. But Sayers and Butkus had their jerseys retired. Yes. If it's the pinstripe front jerseys, I want to say that was the 75th year of the National Football League. I think those are the jerseys you're referring to. It had orange and navy vertical stripes. But yeah, I remember that. I forgot. Our man Andy is a Bears fan. Probably listening in Chicago, freezing his butt off. Got a text on the Titan and More text line from Jared. Jared says, how do you think the Gators baseball team will do against the SEC? Well, it's a bloodbath week in and week out in the conference. So many good teams. I think we'll do fine. I don't know if we'll win the SEC. Remember, the goal is to get to postseason play, try to be one of the top 8 overall seeds, so you host super regionals. And their goal is to get to Omaha, just like the basketball team's goal is to get in the tournament. I think they're going to be okay. SEC play starts this weekend, I believe. So appreciate the text, Jared. And he says, that's it. You still have that jersey? I do somewhere. It's buried in a box in a storage unit. I have a very cool picture in that uniform because we wore it another time, not a night game, but it was a day game. And I do have that framed. A picture of Walter Payton standing on the sideline with his arm around me, and it's taken from the back. So it's a cool picture, and he signed it for me. Sweetness. So that's a picture that I'll have the rest of my life of the greatest running back of all time, Walter Payton, another Mississippi guy. It's interesting that I feel like the 2 best football players of all time came from the state of Mississippi, Jerry Rice and Walter Payton. That state produces a lot of dudes. This Day in Sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp's hiring team members with all levels of experience. Give them a call, 352-376-2366. This Day in Sports, back in 1988, the NFL's St. Louis Cardinals officially move out of St. Louis to Phoenix. I remember that. And that's This Day in Sports brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. If you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. John says, me and y'all didn't swap jerseys. No, I never swapped jerseys with anybody. I took pictures with former teammates, but that was it. I don't know when the jersey swapping started. I wouldn't have swapped that jersey, though. A regular season jersey, I had no problem because you get a bunch of those. But those throwback jerseys and throwback helmets, I still have my Bills throwback uniform, helmet, and jersey. I have my Redskins throwback helmet with the spear on it and jersey. But yeah, the throwback jerseys are cool. I wish more teams would wear those, quite honestly. Some of these new uniforms are just gross looking, in my opinion. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's program. We'll give you a report tomorrow on what we saw at Gator football practice. Won't be a whole lot. They're in shorts and helmets. You can't do a whole lot there, but we'll just give you the vibe of what it was like. Enjoy the first 4 games tonight. Enjoy Gator baseball. Hopefully they'll take care of the semis. In the meantime, be safe out there, folks, and we will see you tomorrow.
1st and 10. Matthews, near side, wide open, Alonzo Sullivan. He may go. Touchdown, Gators.